people. Welcome to another edition of the 2 Point on Monday night. We are your hosts. I am Gladys L. Tyler, and this lovely gentleman is.
This is Jay at JBank727.
Yeah, so you need to hop on that. If you're on Twitter right now, thank you, but you might want to hop on over to Twitch or Facebook Live or YouTube if you want to. If you want to chat with us, because in addition to the like Chinese speaking loud thing I'm doing again this week, we can chat at normal time, and you can hit the subscribe button, and you can hit the like button, and for subscribers, in 2 or 3 weeks, we will be graced by Mr. Scott Fish, who will be giving away an entry into the Scott Fish Bowl Tournament 2022 for all of you who want to participate in that. And I know you do. And just as an aside, Wednesday, on the Going for Two Live show with our lovely, lovely Jeff Lambert, who has come on and helped us with technical difficulties that I was experiencing much earlier. He will have Mr. Fish on. So if you have any questions, get ready for them and send them in Wednesday. And you will also probably get a chance to enter the Scott Fish Ball tournament. All right. So like I said, 2 to 3 weeks, we will be having Fish on. So hit the subscribe button and you will have a chance to be part of the fun and merriment. Hi, Terry, which is really odd. TV is my sister, who's in the next room. She came to visit me. So, yeah. Hi, Terry. She doesn't want to be bashful, but Terry, you can subscribe too. Okay, Jay, how was your day?
My day was pretty hectic. I am obviously not in my normal setup. I'm at my in-laws. My lovely wife is on a cruise. She's been gone for about 3 days. And you ask any husband who has 2 kids, 2 young boys, she might as well have been gone for a month already now. So I'm hanging out with my father-in-law, helping me out with the boys while I go to work, and doing the live studio here from an old 2000 Acer computer.
I like the ironing board.
Yeah, you got the old school ironing board in the
I
background.
love that.
You should
I
see the
love
bathroom floor. It looks like something from that 70s show.
That's awesome. I'm glad you Esther. Feeling better. Words are not going to be my friend tonight. I can just feel it. All right. So tonight is going to be an avant-garde show because we both have been on the not well side of well, and so preparation for topic was not on the topic on top of our list. However, I do believe Jay will have something to say about the Golden State Warriors.
Oh
because,
yeah, definitely.
because when but I have a question about Josh Donaldson, baseball got suspended. I don't understand exactly what happened. Like, Jackie's a derogatory term. Explain, please.
For what did he say?
He called him called. I thought it was a team, but it's not. It's somebody from their team. He called Jackie, like in reference to Jackie Robinson. I'm assuming that's what he was talking about.
Uh,
And so it was considered a racial slur, or derogatory remark, and I recently come down. I just read that Josh Johnson submitted fine by MLB for disrespectful comment towards Tim Anderson. Now, I don't
Tim.
know baseball. They might have had history and might have something to do with it. But my question, just him calling him Jackie is what got him.
I don't know. I haven't heard. I don't know the story, so I'm just literally like wondering what happened. He said, I think he said, "Hey, Jackie." That gets you suspended these days.
Well, yeah, apparently that's what I'm asking, because I guess it depends on the context of how he said it. Thanks, Dan, overboard. But if you know anything more, let me know. But I would take it as, I mean, if someone's comparing it to Jackie Robinson, that's a good thing, right?
That's a compliment, right? I mean,
That's what I thought. Okay, so maybe, like Terry and I were trying to figure it out, because that's what I thought. It was like it would be a compliment.
I just think that that's one of those things where, right, we're truthers for social justice, social awareness, and equity and equality and all of those things. But then there's that other side of the coin where things just kind of swing to the other side of the pendulum, like completely. And goodness, I mean, if saying "Hey, Jackie" gets you suspended in Major League Baseball these days, you should come see some of the locker rooms that I played in when I was in high school and college.
That's what I've called a lot, and probably this year. So I'm not sure. I forgot to mention one thing. If you are a new subscriber, let me know so I can write your name down so we can put it in a bowl, and that's how we're going to decide he comes and Scott Fish comes on, who is in line for the Scott Fish Bowl invite. Okay, all right, Jay, let's get that Gold State Warrior out. Let's get it.
I don't like the Warriors either. I feel like when the Warriors got good, they were fun to watch at first, and then they got really, really cocky. And I think we talked about this before, how people root against the Warriors just for the purpose of rooting against them. But I did call the Warriors winning the championship before the playoffs. My championship series was going to be the Warriors versus the Bucks, and then Chris Middleton got hurt. Then I changed it to the Celtics. Looks like the Celtics are cruising tonight, but I just think that the Warriors, they're a team where talk about getting a lucky break from some injuries. People forget that the Warriors were in the finals. I think was it 2019 against the Toronto Raptors when they had Kevin Durant and all those guys, and then Clay gets hurt. Steph gets hurt the following year. Now they're picking in a lottery for the next 2 years. And this is a championship caliber team that went in a lottery consecutive years. But I think that when the Warriors are healthy, they force teams to play a style of basketball that very few teams can actually compete with on them. And we could definitely see the discrepancy there with the Dallas Mavericks. Ironically enough, I thought that the best matchup for the Warriors would actually be the Suns, but then I thought the Suns would get smoked too because they're going to try to out-worry the Warriors, and you can't do that. The Warriors are out rebounding. See, this is the problem, right? Because they force you to extend out your defense like that and they make you go small. The Warriors are out rebounding the Mavericks 141 to 98 in the 3 games that they're playing. Now, if you're getting out rebounded by the Warriors like that, you have some major problems. Then if you're going to get 27 from Andrew Wiggins while Curry is having a quote unquote off night, Clay is just kind of floating around. What are you going to do when Steph and Clay start firing on the same cylinder together and they just have any random role player just kind of stepping up? I just think that the Warriors are going to cruise to the championship this year. I don't see a team left that's going to beat them. I think that they will completely outclass Miami, and they'll beat Boston in 5 games.
And that makes you sad?
Makes me sad because I don't like the Warriors like that. I'm a Laker fan. Pacific Division rivals. I felt like a lot when the Lakers started sucking, a lot of bandwagon Laker fans jumped onto the Warriors. Um, and they're just really, they're good guys, but they're just really, really cocky. I don't like the whole thing with Steph is like playing with the mouthpiece and he's in every time he makes a 3-pointer. They're just hard to root for.
All right, we're gonna get back to that, but I need to ask Dame Overboard Lakeish. Oh, he's calling the Warriors Lakeish. I need to ask Dame Overboard. That's what the story that he says in book, something that Tim Anderson played, but Anderson and the other still take exception to it. So my question is it respectful or was it a racist comment? Why was it either or? Lake Show. Wow.
Lake Show, let's go. That's right. I think that's one of the things where I was kind of talking about to open the set. There's a fine line, right, to where there's just, racism, that's going on. And then there's just being just so thin-skinned that you can't even say anything. Like, people don't know what to call me. Hey, look, I'm a black guy. Just call me a black man. You know what I mean? For someone, from reading the comment there, it says that Donaldson said that Tim Anderson, he sees himself as a current day Jackie a few days back. I mean,
Tim Anderson did that in an article that he had in 2019 in Sports Illustrated, I believe. He said that he thought the game was changing and he saw himself as the current Jackie Robinson as to usher in a new era of the game. Highly paraphrased, but that's kind of or said.
Wow. So Tim Anderson said it first. Tim Anderson.
Okay,
so I get it now. I get it. There's a little more context now. So Josh Donaldson's like, dude, you don't even belong in the same sentence other than being a black man to Jackie Robinson. And so I think that he's kind of ribbing him a little bit, saying, hey, Jackie. And I think that's where, okay, that sounds like that's where the angst from the comments is coming from. And now you're crying foul, saying that there's a racist connotation that was made there.
Personal beef, though. That wouldn't be, to me, that would not be a racist beef. That would be a personal beef.
Right. That's a kid you don't know. you can't just go around tugging on Superman's cape like that. I mean.
Oh, I love that song.
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, there are people who don't even know who Tim Anderson is.
Before this, I had no. So that's one of those with me. Yeah. Okay. All right. Team Overboard. Quick. I'm guessing you're Lakers fan. Lakers people, who do you want your new coach to be?
What was that?
Who do you want to coach? Who do you want your new coach? Who do you want the new coach to be?
So I'm tired of all of the same retreads. Kenny Atkinson, I guess, is a decent coach, right? He did a pretty good job with the Nets before they wanted to go with Steve Nash. Took a team that did not have the talent. They went into, I believe, in a first round or in the bubble. I think they came out of the bubble in the first round. They actually did pretty well. I thought I was surprised when they let him go in and they brought in Steve Nash, who had no coaching experience, but you bring in who Kevin Durant wants to play for. I'm not a fan of Darvin Ham. I think that Darvin Ham is kind of sticking around and making a name in basketball world for breaking a backboard in the NCAA tournament, however long ago that was. I get it. He's been on the Bucks coaching staff, and so, he's won a title as an assistant coach. Stotts, I mean, I don't want Stotts unless you're coming with Dame Lillard. So for me, if they're going through the whole thing of retreads, and then we got Juwan Howard declined interest from the Lakers. Like, how bad is it now where Juwan Howard, who almost got fired from Michigan for losing his cool versus Wisconsin is too good to even give the Lakers an interview. If I'm looking at it out of the names that were there, I guess I'll go with Atkinson, but I'd like to see them make a splash and go for some new blood. I think it's time that we gave. Becky a real shot at coaching in the NBA. She's well respected. She's in the Spurs. I don't know if they're making her available or not, but I think that it's time, and I think that the Lakers need someone who not only is a good coach, but someone who is just going to be working with solid character, hard worker, and knows the game. Frank Vogel, to me, was just a complete disaster over the last 2 years. So
you threw for Becky Hammon.
Yeah, I love it.
What do you think about Las Vegas?
What was that?
They'd have to pick up they have to pick the team she's looking for now.
Yeah.
And what do you think about?
We're the Lakers. So
oh my God.
We're the Lakers.
It doesn't matter.
It don't matter. The Lakers.
It's
not a good job, right? I'll be the first to admit that's a tough job for a coach to come into, because you're going to come into right away. You're the Lakers. Then you're going to come into an unreasonable championship expectation. I don't think the Lakers have a championship roster as long as Russell Westbrook is there and as long as LeBron James is this side of 48. Anthony Davis is made out of paper mache. I just think that it's one of those things that looks good from far, but far from good. And
then why
any coach,
that on Hammond?
I like her. I think that she's a good coach.
Yeah, if you like her, you want her to go to a team that has a chance to succeed.
Yeah, but I think that she can help the Lakers. I don't know.
My God, because we're the Lakers. We can.
The Lakers, the coaching carousel. The players that are available, I just not too fond of. If I had to pick a choice, gun to my head, it would be Atkinson.
It'd be what?
Kenny Atkinson.
Ah, I like that. I like that. We'll stick with that. It would. I mean, be a female coach.
It's time.
Because it's the Lakers. Whatever.
It's time. I mean, there are a couple of really dynamic female coaches out there. Don Staley, you know what I mean, is another great coach. So
who's that?
Say hi. Come here.
What up? What up, Peanut? How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Josiah.
What's your name?
Josiah.
I'm sorry.
This is Josiah.
Josiah. How old are you?
7.
What?
He's
You
7.
look like you're 25.
He's tall.
I play basketball.
Oh, that's why. Are you any good?
Yeah, I'm good at defense.
He's good at
You're good
defense.
at defense. That's all
Dad's
that
his coach.
defense games, Josiah.
That's right. That's how you get playing time.
Exactly.
All right, buddy.
It's nice meeting you. Bye, Josiah. Yeah. Really good. Yeah.
He's so I coached him. I coached some little guys like his age or whatever, and I was telling all of them, hey, look, man, you don't have to have skill to play defense. You just gotta be you just gotta be moving in and getting people's way. The Lakers can learn a lot from my coaching philosophy, by the way.
So yeah, it sounds like it. Hey, Kyle.
Kyle was good, man.
Yeah, kid's good defense, man. He's proud.
Yeah, from where I stand, I'm always going to be a very pro defensive minded, coach. So that's why I originally liked Vogel for the Lakers when he first came on, and then I just think that he just regressed. I think that he got into situations where he couldn't make in-game adjustments. I think that he had a hard time figuring out the whole LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, dynamic. And I mean, they didn't have a lot to work with. They had those three players and a bunch of guys who, would have a hard time getting consistent run at the Y. But
wow.
it was a
That
tough season. I'm glad it's over.
Do you think that the LeBron Russell Westbrook dynamic could work under the right coach, or do you think it's dynamic?
I think that. So I've been on record of saying this, that the Russell Westbrook experiment for the Lakers was never going to work, because in order for Russell Westbrook to be the best version of himself, he has to be a ball dominant, hold the ball, just high usage player. He grabs a rebound and then he's pushing it full speed ahead. Since LeBron James came to the Lakers have been one of the slowest paced teams in the league since LeBron James came. They're literally a half court offense since LeBron came to the Lakers. And so there was never a play style where Westbrook will be good for the Lakers outside of benching him and telling him that he's just to go berserk off of his second unit. He can't shoot, so he's a liability. You're not going to take the ball out of LeBron's hands to give it to Westbrook. So there's another problem there. He just became a really, really bad slap in the face for me for DeMar DeRozan. That's what Russell Westbrook was for me.
So okay. So if the Lakers have to lose LeBron, you're saying which one? Because I know you want both of them, but they're only lose.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to get rid of Westbrook if we can. Honestly, I'm going to say something that's unpopular for Laker fans to hear, but I think that if the Lakers want to speed up the rebuild, they have to trade LeBron James.
Trade him?
Yeah.
Trade. Okay.
Trade him. You trade LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Go ahead and just get a king's ransom for Anthony Davis. There's a lot of teams that that are close to contending that will overpay for Anthony Davis in a trade, I think. And LeBron James, he's still at 37 last year, had pretty close to MVP numbers. So I think that if you have a team where you have a window of 2 years, LeBron James can get you around. For example, the Cleveland Cavaliers, ironically enough, going back to, that old stopping ground, the Cavaliers can win a championship with LeBron James. So
do you think James would go back?
I do think that James would go back there, because I think that at this point in his career, he's just kind of just want to go where he wants to go and have a team that's ready-made for a championship.
And when's that in your mind?
I think that it has to be a team that has a young dynamic core like the Cleveland Cavaliers do. Has to be teams that have decent shooting. And just, guys, he needs guys that can get him through the regular season so that he can be LeBron James in the playoffs. And that's the problem that the Lakers have. And that's what I think that's what they were hoping that they would get with Westbrook. I think that they were hoping that they would get Westbrook to take over 20, 30 games in a regular season while LeBron could kind of just coast and then turn on the switch in the playoffs. But as we found out, make the playoffs first before you start thinking about that.
Okay, so I know you're a Rams fan.
Yeah.
So you know how everyone's chasing the Rams, right? Everyone's doing the model like the Rams to beat the Rams. Is that how it is in basketball? Everyone's chasing the Warriors. That's the model.
I think that there was when the Warriors were in the middle of their dynasty run, right?
But right now.
I don't think anyone's chasing the Warriors, but I think the Warriors are back.
And that makes me sad.
Yeah. I mean, not too sad. Not the worst team in the world. They're a fun team to watch. I will give them that. They're cocky, but they're a fun team to watch. So I think that when they were in that dynasty run, though, teams were literally building their team to beat the Warriors. We saw the Rockets try to do it with James Harden and Chris Paul. We saw the Clippers try to do it. The Phoenix Suns literally made no mistakes about it. Like, that's what they were trying to do. They built their roster to beat the Warriors, and they couldn't get past the Mavericks. So
the
And I
Mavericks,
think that
but
that's generally dangerous, right? You see teams that do that, just even in across sports, where that never really works out well. You got to figure out what you do better, what you do best, and just go out there and try to compete. You saw teams where they were trying to like build their football team to compete with the Chiefs. Now teams are like trying to play with the Buccaneers. You know what I mean? Now everyone's coming and trying to be like the Rams. And you're not gonna be better at those teams at doing what they do.
okay, let's switch over to football for a minute or two or three, whatever. Traylon Burks. What's the what is the deal with that boy? Like, did he come to rookie camp out of shape? Does he have asthma? Uh, is what you're hearing now dropping in your drafts?
He isn't dropping in none of the drafts that I've been in.
No.
Um, but at this point, I've only been in dynasty drafts, so it's really early for. No one should be drafting season long right now. If you're in a league where you're drafting season long,
Well,
get out of that league, right?
we're doing. We're doing a mock that I think it was that was redraft. Wasn't so mock draft is going now. But my question is, he obviously isn't able to perform on the field
Right.
during. So, what makes you think that he's going to miraculously be able to perform to be AJ Brown like? And that's what
Because we were having this same conversation around this time last year about Jamar Chase. And it was all of the rave that Jamar Chase can't catch a football. You know, everything that he was doing, he was dropping everything in the rookie camp. And everybody was
on the field. At least he made it to the field. Burks hasn't even made it to the field. He hasn't even made it to be able to make a play yet.
I think it's May 23rd. I'm not too worried about it.
Really?
I'm not too worried about
You
it.
come to rookie cap and you can perform and you're not worried about it.
I'm not too worried about it.
Take him off the field, give him, I guess, a shot of oxygen, get him back on the field, then have to take him back off again. And then I think Vrabel's quote was, I guess Burks was working out with a trainer, and he's like, yeah, they can simulate with trainers what we actually do on the field because, it's all duh.
I mean, what does he have asthma? Does he have asthma or is there COVID or something?
I thought that they said someone said something about him having an inhaler, that they saw him with an inhaler, and then they had to take him off again. But if he had asthma, that would be something that would be, I think, pre-draft worthy. No, maybe because and it's a big no in my head.
It could be conditioning, right? It can be some conditioning, there coming into it. But the guy, I mean, I'm gonna bet with the guy that like hunts like wild boar with a knife. I'm not the highest in the world on Treylon Burks, like a lot of people, where I think that he's a very raw prospect. But I think of like when you talk about guys that have like just a huge ceiling, either he's gonna hit or he's gonna be a bust. I don't think there's anything in between for Treylon Burks, and I just like the size. I like the size. I like the speed. I like how the landing spot for the Titans, and I'm not too worried about his conditioning or him sucking down an inhaler in late May. Now, if we're still having this conversation in August, then there's a problem.
All right, Mr. Optimistic. Mr. All right, let's talk one more time. One more thing before we have to go. And sorry about that. We were having technical difficulties today. I was having technical difficulties once again, as I am. Women's sports. The College World Series. Did you watch any of it this weekend? Jay?
College World Series for the ladies.
Yeah, softball.
Oh,
That's it. That's
have
a
not.
no. Look at that face. He's like so guilty. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to impart that. Okay, so starting Thursday will be the super regional. That's 3 out of 5. I believe there are 5 teams that were not rated that made it to the college, that made it to the super regional. So they made it past the regionals, which was a double elimination. All right, everyone get on board with that because it was it's so good. These women, fast paced softball, are so good at their sport. And if you're not watching it now, you need to watch it, and you need to for University of Central Florida, UCF, because they're they're good. And why am I
I
saying?
saw a game with I think it was Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Arkansas play once. I don't watch a lot of like the college women's sports there outside of basketball, but yeah, I'm starting to. And guys, we got to grow in this area, right? We got to give the ladies some love here.
Yeah.
They're out there. They're putting it down. I don't want to hear anybody talking about there's no sport. Give the ladies a shot. They're out there putting it down. Um, if some of us wouldn't be able to compete with these ladies. They're exceptional athletes and they're putting in a lot of work, and so we got to grow in that area of supporting them as well.
And I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And let me say one more thing. If you subscribe, send me or let me know now so I can write your name down so we can put you in, get a chance for the Scottish Bowl. All right, Jay. As always, this is the moment I wait for every other Monday.
Ooh.
Yes, yes. It's the Jay rant.
Oh man, I don't know who to be mad at here. Okay,
Okay.
I don't know if I'm mad at the U.S. government. I don't know if I'm mad at Biden or whoever are the powers that be, or Hillary Clinton or Brittany Griner or Russia. But what in the world is going on there? Why is it that you have one of the best women's basketball players in the world, gold medalist, Olympic, just like Brittany Griner? This story it should be massive. We should be talking about this story it should be on the news every day until we get tired of hearing about it and just put the pressure on the powers that be to get that woman home. Now I know Russia, they're really strict on things like drugs and stealing water guns from the 99-cent store and stuff like that. And there was something saying that she could be in jail for 5 to 10 years for some marijuana cream, oil, CBD oil, what was it?
It was it wasn't alleged anyway.
So
Wasn't
to me, here's the thing, and I'm gonna go ahead and we talked about this a little bit earlier with the Josh Donaldson thing, and I'm gonna speak the truth right now, and I'm gonna talk about the elephant in the room, because the reason why this is not a mainstream newscast, and not just a mainstream story, not just a sports story, is because you have Brittany Griner, who is a lesbian, black, strongly built, tattoo wearing female athlete. And I think that because I don't think that it would be apples to apples if it were another player. I don't think that it would be. I think that we'll be talking about it way more. There was a period of time where that story just completely went away, and you're like, hey, what happened to Brittany Griner? Oh, what? Like, she's still there. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I think that this is one of those things where we really, really, really need to be doing a lot more to bring her home.
the scariest part for me is when they showed her at her latest, what we would call an arraignment. I don't know what the Russians call it, where she went and they sent her more. She never raised her head. Like, you never saw her face. She had a hoodie on, kept her head down. All you saw were the braids. So we don't even friggin' really know if that was braids by her. We just saw a woman with head down, braids out. The fact that they were supposedly told not to speak on it because it would cause more of a turmoil is kind of bullshit to me. Like, for
Yeah,
the Russians.
that's complete.
Yeah.
I mean, like that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, okay, let's talk. Would we hear more about the story? Would we know more about the story? Would there be more aggressive efforts if this was Della Don?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for
There
sure.
would definitely be.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is one of those things where it's hard to talk about it, right? It's hard to talk about it because we know there's a degree of that, that elephant that is there, that is present, where she's checking a lot of boxes where we're going to have problems in America. A lot of them.
I hope she's okay. James, have your name. I put it down. So you're already on the sheet. I thought you knew. It doesn't WNBA players going overseas in the offseason because that's where they make their money. That's why they play. That's what.
Right. They don't make any money in the WNBA. They actually is the other way around. They make their money off seas and overseas and playing around. And Brittany's been doing that for a long time, right? She's been going to
Like 12 years.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not like you can't think they didn't know who to target because she's been playing for the Russian team for quite some time and she's been going from Russia to the United States. The fact that it wasn't what we would consider actual contraband on her, it was like residue oil in a hashish pipe is what they're holding her for, is also kind of bull. And the fact that no one's saying until now, like I was watching a couple of WNBA games, and then now there's the free Britney thing.
I think it's a little late, right? It's a little late.
Yeah, it's a little too late.
A little too late in the game. Like she's entrenched, and it's there are little elections that are going around now, so it's very popular to come back in and free Britney, things like that, and I'm just disgusted by that whole case there. Not to say that Britney's an angel. She's no saint. What I mean? You got to know better. You got to do better. You're in a foreign country. They got different rules, stricter rules. You know that because you've been there many times. But this is completely overboard.
It's ridiculous, is what it is.
I mean, this is the way that you're treated, like detained and for weeks without talking to her. Like that's how you treat like a war crimes suspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is that just
that's Jace? It's my 4-year-old.
Yeah.
That's the one you met last time.
So my rant was kind of on the same line, even though we haven't talked. That's really weird. I think that it had to do more with the whole Jackie thing, and if you make a racist comment, make a racist comment. You know what I mean? I read an article where biology said a director, for like the first half of the time he was directing her, called her by his maid's name. And it's, and it's, hell, first, biology. So he knew her, but he called her by his maid's name as a way of secondary. If you don't have the balls to make it primary, don't say anything.
Don't say it. So you saying he should just go all out Riley Cooper with it, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather that than someone, think they're being sly and be saying insidious stupid shit like "Hey Jackie."
That's actually a really good point, because that could be a more calculated thing than just ignorance and stupidity, right? Where,
Right.
you know, where it's more calculated, where you're kind of twisting the line a little bit, and trying to be slick with it. I can see that. I can see where that's going.
Yeah, not a big deal being slick or trying to be slick. But I am a big fan of all of you who tuned in to listen, the new subscribers as well as the old. Dame Board, if that is not your email name, I need your email name. That's how Scott Fish picks for the Fishbowl. So either give it to us now, or DM me your email name. Again, before we leave, let me remind you, for our show, you need to subscribe. For all the Going for Two shows, hit the subscribe button. And then you will be entered in our part of the Scott Fishbowl Extravaganza. Wednesday, Scott Fish will actually make a special guest appearance on Jeff Lambert's Going for Two Live show, and he will answer all your questions about life, about commissioners. I don't think he'll answer Scott Fishbowl questions. I'm trying to get his son on our show because his son is a friggin' genius, and not that Scott isn't, but his son, his like 8 or 10-year-old son is. So if you have questions for his son, that's the one you bring to us. And then otherwise, we will see you in 2 weeks. You will see Kyle next Monday. You'll see Jeff and Scott Wednesday. You'll see the Speak on It guys on Thursday or Tuesday. It's a tea day. And they use, is your son still in the room? Jay? Is your son still? Is your son still? Is your son still there?
My son's still there, yeah.
Oh, okay. So they the F word. I was going to say it, but there I'm not going to say it. Earmuffs on Speak on It, so don't have children in the room. What that shows.
They've heard worse than that when I was watching the Lakers last year.
And as always, we appreciate you at Bank 727 DM if you're a new subscriber, at Gladys L. Tyler, DM me your name, your email name, no subscriber. We will put you down. You will be in for the Scott Fishbowl Bowl. Any questions, send them in. And we appreciate you for sticking with us and for hanging in there for our, my technical difficulties.
Our technical difficulties and my live studio from That 70s, live from the set of That 70s show.
We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Bye, Jay.
Bye-bye.